QDN of the server where you. Good evening, all of you. So, in our previous session, we were covering um, the SIP requests, and we had stopped in the middle. We did not complete the whole thing. So, a request line is something which contains a method name, request URI, and SIP version. In the middle, we have spaces. At the end, we have something called a CRLF, stands for carriage return line feed. Carriage return value is 13, line feed is 10. Both are ASCII characters, 13 getting converted into binary 1 byte and 10 getting converted into binary 1 byte. So that is that. Now, the part that we haven't yet completed is the request URI, which could be either a SIP URI or a SIPs URI or a telephone URI. URI represents the user ID to whom you are establishing a VoIP session. So that is the URI. Okay, so we have the request URI. What details will be present inside request URI? It indicates the user or the service to which the request is being addressed. So we either have SIP URI or SIPs URI or telephone URI. What is the syntax for request URI? Syntax is user colon SIP colon user colon password at the rate host colon port semicolon URI parameters question mark headers. So these many fields might be there, or not all fields are mandatory, but combining all this typically will be considered as a URI. What details would be present here inside? User password and at the rate, the first three things. SIP colon is mandatory, but what is the user password and at the rate? Together, these three pieces are called as user info. User info may be absent. If the user info in a SIP URI is absent, the call session is being directed to the host. If the service is available with the host itself, so then user info we can ignore. So it can be like a server information is present. Inside that server, the user information is not present, or domain information is present, user details are not there. That means the service is provided by the multimedia service that you are initializing is going to be provided by the server itself, not any individual user in it. So if at the right is present in the URI, then it must contain the user field. Password field is optional. Maybe there, may not be there, but if at the right is there, definitely username must be there. If you are ignoring, you can ignore the entire thing. So you can ignore user password, and at the right, all the things can be excluded. Directly, it starts from the host onwards, the host details onwards. So what is user? The identifier of a particular resource at the host being addressed. Um, Particular resource, the identifier of a resource. It could be a individual user or it could be a server which is providing you multimedia services. For example, there can be some multimedia servers at the rate of wipro.com. You are getting the services from that. So that multimedia server also might have a user ID, because SIP is used for establishing multimedia sessions. It is not mandatory that you need to establish only a voice over IP call with the other user. The other user could be a server as well, which is providing you a multimedia service, or it could be a gaming service, for example. Um, so you can play a game which is being hosted on a server. So the host typically represents the server location, and the user is the ID of the resource that you wanted to hit, the one that you wanted to connect. The identifier can be a telephone number if the host can process telephone numbers. For example, if the host is a gateway, then it could be a telephone number also. The user identifier can be. Password is associated with the user, and it is not recommended to have the password information but in the syntax it is present, but mostly we never use it until and unless in some rare scenarios. Earlier, in the earlier C portions, they have they wanted to use it. They have kept it into the syntax, but later they have they have like said that it is not recommended to be working with it. All right. So host. Host is the IP address or a fully qualified domain name, FQDN, of the server where your resources are present, your SIP resources are present. So the host providing the SIP resource. The host can be a fully qualified domain name. What is the meaning of a fully qualified domain name? A name of the host, which can be converted into IP address by contacting any DNS server, can be called as a FQDN, fully qualified domain name. For example, if you have a name like google.com, you can go and talk to your DNS server and find out where the google.com server is present. You can find out google.com server's IP address. So such a thing, any name that can be any domain name that can be converted into IP address is called as fully qualified domain name, or it could be IP address, a IPv4 or IPv6 address. The host address, the host thing can be. So it is a address which can be converted into IP address or already an IP address. If it is already an IP address, we don't need to convert it into an IP address. Again, um, using the fully qualified domain name form is recommended whenever possible instead of using the IP address format in the part of the host. Port. On the port where the request is going to be sent, the incoming port on the server, which is readily accepting your SIP protocol messages. So that is the port here. And URI parameters. Parameters affecting a request constructed from the URI. Um, Now, these URI parameters are absent, are not mandatory. They are like optional. Sometimes they contain transport related parameters or MAD or TTL, user, method, LR, etc. etc. So some parameters could be there. I'm not having any problem. Is there anyone else facing the audio break issue or something like that?
No, sir. No, sir. It's clear.
Okay.
No,
All right. Okay. Shweta, you have to look on your own machine. Even Srikanth has reported that. Srikanth, there is no issue on my side. Everything is clean. Yeah. Okay. So the port number, URI parameters, parameters affecting a request constructed from the URI. So these parameters may be present, may not be present. It is the optional part. So the port number is where the request to be sent. The header part, SIP request header fields can be included in the URI itself after the question mark. Some header fields information can be attached. So what is these header fields? What is the URI parameters? We will understand when we are going to study the SIP messages at a later point in time. We will be looking into those aspects. Okay, so um, we will see some examples for this URI to proceed further. So you guys are going to participate in this operation here in order to understand what details are present. So the examples, we have SIP allies @ of atlanta.com. Can anyone tell me, like, out of the fields that we have in the seen in the previous slide, what fields are present here? Um, if this is your SIP URI, what fields are present?
Sir, user field.
So the user field there and host is there.
Perfect. User field is present and host field is present. Rest of the fields are absent. For example, password is not there because at the rate before whatever we have, if it is present, if at the rate is present, user is mandatory. So definitely the user field is going to be there. So that alias is the username, and after the at the rate, host is mandatory. So port number is optional, host is mandatory. So here the host we have used in the first thing is a fully qualified domain name. It is going to be FQDN. If I copy paste it, we don't need to refer to this again and again. Just hold on.